Gianni Valente, welcome, and Jim and Alaina, welcome to Vocal Gumbo Happy Hour. Meet the fabulous people of the planet.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having us.
You're quite welcome. I mean, when we were putting the show together, we think about themes pretty much in advance. And I mean, at first we heard Birdland is going on. We said, no, we can't let that happen, and thousands of other people said that as well. So you guys had a very good GoFundMe campaign, I know, but we wanted to just add our little bit of 2 cents in music and celebrate the wonderful club that is Birdland. That's a New York institution.
Yeah, and that we have, I think all of us here collectively, when you think about it, it's more than a place where you go and experience music. I mean, we have been there when we were either celebrating somebody's birthday or celebrating a life of somebody. We've been there with some of our adored artists in combinations that we would never otherwise do if Birdland didn't say, we want to create a special program and package, and so let's do it. And so we have so many memories, and it just feels like these extraordinary times we've been through. We're so grateful that Jim and I think Alaina, and maybe Jim, you guys somewhere in the beginning of the year said, hold on a minute, this GoFundMe thing this would be a great way to rally. And Gianni, what was that like for you to find that maybe it was time to welcome in your community and tell them, you know what, we'll welcome the help. We'll welcome the community to help us get through this time. What was that like for you? Because I know you're quiet in stealth in your ways of navigating, keeping it all afloat. And what finally made it for you like, okay, I'm gonna let this happen and welcome it?
Well, it was a very different way of me going about my business. And as you mentioned, I am the only owner. I usually try to take care of things myself. But fortunately for me, I had a great group of people that did approach me. You mentioned Jim and Alaina, Susie Mosier, Michael and Tom Dangora, and Tim Guinea. Tim. And they did come to me at the beginning of the year and mentioned that they would like to help. I found that the first 10 months since we closed on March 16th.
I was going to ask you what date?
Coming towards the holidays, we did a lot of prep work trying to open in December. We felt that perhaps maybe with the holidays coming, the city might be buzzing, it might open up a bit. So we did a lot of work to redo our filter system. We put new carpeting in, we redid the drapes, we polished floors. We put time and money in, and we opened on December 2nd. And then we were told to close on December 12th. Oh. And I found that I didn't know whether or not that I could really survive another 10 months or a year, because from April till that point, all the expenses I was paying out personally. And as all we can imagine, living in New York and being in Times Square, 9,000 square feet,
yeah,
it can become quite expensive to keep a place like this going.
Right.
So they came to me with this idea of a GoFundMe. And at first, I was a little skeptical of it because, as you mentioned, I'm a pretty private person and I really don't want to go out and get the community involved in my own personal life. But they wanted to do it on their own. And I felt that their intentions were all beautiful because it was not only to keep Birdland going, it was to send a message to our artists, to all the employees, staff members, and to other venues that there's hope and that we can do it if we all do it together. And I just thought that you know what, this sounds like something I'd like to get involved with. And I gave him my blessings. And it was just overwhelming and heartwarming to see the arts community come together the way it did in supporting not only Birdland, but all the artists. And again, the hope that it gave to other venues.
That's how we do though, Jim, right? That's how the artist community takes care of itself. If given the opportunity and given maybe some really good, leaders to lead us in a great mission. Maybe you want to speak to that.
Absolutely. I mean, performers are used to standing up for themselves, maybe more than business owners are, because we've been taught to bang our drums really loudly.
Yes.
And so when we're in trouble, you learn to ask for help. And Johnny called me and said, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to do this. This is a nightmare. And I said, well, now here's the thing. I've been contacted by these brilliant guys and these very, very generous guys to do a GoFundMe. I don't want people to know my business. I don't, and it was like, okay, well, I get that you don't want people to know your business, but we also don't want to go out of business.
Right.
And he told me what was necessary financially to kind of get through this next period of time, these next months of being closed. And I thought, that is not money that just grows on trees.
Right.
So these guys talked to me and John, and we decided to indeed do the GoFundMe with the help of the arts community, which was astonishing.
Yeah.
They put a show together with everybody from you guys to Sting to Billy Joel to Whoopi Goldberg to Kermit the Frog, Bill Clinton, and we raised a lot of money.
Yeah.
In one night with that show, and over the whatever it was 2 weeks that GoFundMe was, I guess it's maybe still up and running.
It is. I just peeked at it.
Is it?
It's over. It's like 407,000.
Yeah.
$407,000. How inspiring is that?
But the cool thing is, that money came in dribs and drabs. A couple people sent a lot, like 5,000, 3,000.
Sure.
To me, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But it was mostly $10, $20.
Right.
From locals, from Japan, from South America, from Italy, from it was like Finland.
I think that's the stuff that warms your heart, right? That
Yes.
that many sort of modest donations came from so many people around the world. That's when you go, all right,
it's about 6,000 donations, I think.
Yeah.
Like the Bernie Sanders campaign.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It was very grassroots.
Yeah.
Now, Alaina, how have you been coping in these times? Because, I know that when I come to Birdland, I feel like when I'm greeted by you, it's like it is like going to your neighborhood favorite haunt bar, except of course it's a venue and there's amazing things going on. But like, you're the first person that greets the guest, and you must have a million things going on, but like always your demeanor is like, so nice to see you. Yes, give me just a moment. I'll get you, and that you're just the epitome of the face of the room.
Well, thank you very much for that compliment. That felt like a very big one. I would say the first couple months I paced a lot. I wore the carpet in our apartment quite thin. My husband Chris said, like, slow down, stop. And that was the hardest adjustment, is figuring out how to stop, because every night at Birdland I'm just cruising the room, up the stairs, down the stairs, kitchen, front of house, moving. And that's how I feel most comfortable. You know, I can juggle all the things as long as I keep moving. So the inertia of the stop really kind of was a little bit tough.
Yeah.
But you know, luckily we had some really good ideas, like from just summer, like Ryan Patternite developing Radio Free Birdland gave us a sense of purpose, gave us a reason to come back into the room. You know, very small skeleton crew making something happen again. Finally felt like, okay, we can take a deep breath. We're gonna be back. This is just pause for now. And you know, this pause has been a lot longer than we had guesstimated at various times throughout the year.
Radio Free Birdland was
you
the
know,
first thing that I did going out of the house. I mean, that was the first thing where I got on a stage after months and months and months.
I remember when you came in, you got a little choked up just being there with your incredible pianist and just being on a stage after so many months.
And it was hard to
I would say it was a very
set.
Yeah.
It was challenging after months of just.
It was very emotional, but it was so therapeutic to be around everybody, you know, like
Yes.
I found myself weeping often through the Radio Free Birdland productions, just because it was like, this is supposed to happen. And watching the artists figure out how to do a whole show to an empty room really gave me a perspective. Like, I always knew everybody that's on the stage is a professional, but to watch them still draw upon their craft and like make it happen even without the crowd was like, this is another level of art that we're seeing all the time.
I think for our viewers out there, I want to though give you some insight as to the rooms that you're seeing both Alaina and Gianni in, because I feel like the things that the setting that Gianni's on the stage of Birdland right now. I mean, he's in the room, and this is where so much life and music has happened for so many years. And Alaina's in the dressing room. I mean, one of the main photos that's on our Vocal Gumbo website is me and Janice taking a selfie in that mirror, and that's the background. I mean, it's like it's a kind of iconic. I mean, Jim was talking about how, like, yeah, those are a lot of my paintings that I moved from the interior of my home. And you know, I guess, Gianni, speak to the fact that, like, you know, you have been such a champion of the arts, and why is this your mission? Why is music so important to you? Why is it so important that you want music happening on that stage?
Well, first of all, music is who we are. I mean, I think I was placed on this planet to do exactly what I've been doing, is producing shows and running the clubs. I just think that in New York, especially, I think that the music industry is the backbone of New York. It's part of our environment. And without it, I think New York just becomes a regular, every type of city there is in America. And it's such a special place. And we have so many of our artists that live here. They all come from other parts of the world to come to New York to be part of this music community. It's so important. And I feel when I took this challenge on 35 years ago with Doris Parker, I remember telling her and Max Roach at a luncheon one day that I could only do it for 50 years. And they said, well, that'll be plenty. But I really feel this. And every day I wake up, I feel like not only do I have an obligation to myself and to the club, but I have an obligation to all the artists and to music to keep it alive. And this is what really drives me. This is what will, at least I know in my heart, that Birdland will never close as long as I'm alive, and it will continue. And I think we need it. I think that music is so important to all of us. And I'm proud to be in the industry, and I want to keep working at it.
You know, I want to ask you, Gianni, because you got such passion for music. How did that happen? did you have it growing up? I mean, who were your early mentors, and like, what did you listen to, and where did you grow up? And
Well,
know
that's
a
a
lot
that,
about music.
that's a funny story because my father was an alto sax clarinet player, and I have a twin brother. So every night we would take turns. One would play clarinet and one would play saxophone. And truthfully, I hated them. And when I was old enough and I had the nerve to go to my father and say, can I change instruments? And I became a bass player. He said, well, as long as you're going to play an instrument, that's fine. But ironically, he used to say to me, you hated the alto saxophone, but yet you end up owning a club made famous by an alto sax player. So what goes around comes around. So music has been in my family since I can remember growing up. I've always loved music, whether it was pop, rock and roll, jazz, and I'm blessed to have been around a family that loved music and that made sure that all of us enjoyed it as well.
And when did you and Jim meet? How did
Jim
you?
and I met about in July will be 18 years ago. So we've been together, believe it or not, for over 17
To
years.
take the temperature. Wow.
It's our longest relationship, both of us.
Yes.
Because
Of that.
Well, that's
we fight a lot.
Oh,
so it's just like you're married. Okay.
it's exactly. Yeah. Many people have said that.
Yes.
but that's part of the musical partnership. I mean, Janice and I can speak to that. I have 3 other partners who are musical partners, but they are interchangeably, relationship. They know me so intimately that we have shared so much of our life together, our desperate lows, our unbelievable highs, we've been through everything together. And so part of that intimacy, when you have musical partnerships like that, the lines get a little blurred,
Yes.
and
And
the
if you're
squabbles-
fighting about the right thing, that's a good fight.
Yeah.
If you're fighting about the music, if you're fighting about the club, if you're fighting, to me, that's kind of fair game. I don't know how John feels about it, but he knows how much I care about the club, and he knows I like to complain about things. So the fun begins.
I've been
Oh, go ahead. Go
I've
ahead,
been
Jan.
blessed. I've been blessed to have a core of people around me to help make Birdland what it is. And Ryan Patternite, for example, he's been with me for 25 years.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned, Jim is almost 18 years, and Alaina's been with me for over 10 years, and most of my kitchen staff. So it's made it a real close-knit family, which has made it a lot of fun to be here. And the most difficult things that I've had to deal with is not being here every day. I find myself totally lost. Can't wait to reopen. And I truly miss the music. I miss the artists, and I miss my staff. And of course, our guests. It's been a very difficult time. But
Well,
like Jim said, we work together at it every day, whether we agree on things or disagree. But I think we all have the same focus.
Right. And I think that family attitude that comes from you has helped create an energy there that people, when they walk in, they know. There are places, I always say this, but there are places in New York City and everywhere that have good energy because of the incredible things that have happened in that room. Radio City Music Hall, the Palace Theater, Birdland is like that. There is music in those walls and good energy. And I think we're all so, and I think we're all so proud to be part of that. And the staff and management and wait and bar staff and kitchen staff to help continue that story.
And I'm going to take this opportunity to say I love the special evenings you've created, the Monday night cast party, the Louis Armstrong night, the Arturo O'Farrell Afro-Cuban big band,
The Birdland Big Band.
Chicago's band,
Yeah, Birdland Big Band.
Birdland Big Band. I mean, so great, and the Birdland Theater now.
Yeah.
Talk
You
to us
know-
a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit more about how people can, if they've missed some of these occasions, how they can either sign up on your email list and make sure that they're notified of, when the next event is, because we still have probably a ways to go before we're actually going to be hanging out in a venue. So I think it is very important for people to know that you are creating content for them to enjoy and come and pay for some tickets and help fill the till with some of that money so that it can continue to move forward. So maybe Alaina, do you want to tell us about some of the programs going on in a little more depth?
I'd be happy to speak to that. I'd be happy to speak to that because I'm really proud of a lot of what we've done. Well, we are just getting started with our second season of Radio Free Birdland, which had an incredible first season. We all had roles that we filled when the club closed, and those roles were no longer needed for the time being. So we all shifted gears and figured out how to do something new. Our director of operations, Ryan, was behind a camera. Suddenly we're producing online content, but we held off just a few minutes because we wanted to make sure that when we re-entered the arena, we were doing it at a caliber that was up to Birdland standards and honored the Birdland legacy, right? We didn't want to just come flying in with an iPhone and make it happen. We wanted to be able to produce high quality streams. So those are available. You can buy tickets through our website every Thursday. You can also see those shows on demand. But in addition to that, we're also using our social platforms to hold up people and bolster the same way we would when we were open, up and coming artists, to use our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter as a place to be seen. So
Right.
You can tune in on Monday nights to Jim's Pajama Cast Party, which has an incredible viewership. You can see on Sunday nights the Afro Latin Jazz Orchestra. They've managed to be able to record an entire Latin orchestra, an 18-piece band, as they're scattered across the country. They tune in still on Sunday nights to produce a big band show. On Friday nights, we do Julie Halston. Monday, you can also see Emmett Cohen. So just checking in
Billy
and following
Stritch.
us on our social.
Billy on
Billy
Billy
Thursdays.
Stritch.
So many of our
Yeah.
many of our talented friends from the club have gotten into online. I mean, you guys with Vocal Gumbo,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Billy, Gabrielle Stravelli. So
Yep.
many people have figured out, they figured out early on in this pandemic a way to still be seen and still be able to connect with their audience. And I think it's going to be so huge, especially when we reopen, that these people are still going to be viable.
Well, the thing is, too, I think that now that we've all figured out how to exist online as well as in person, it's not going to go away. It's only going to add to Birdland's offerings, right?
That's
You're
right.
going to be able to see these shows whether or not you can be there in person, and that's important.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to add, Alaina, is that when we do the shows at Radio Free Birdland, we do get money for the artist as well. So we're trying to keep the artists going, and that's important, that we get them some money, we put money in their pockets, because a lot of these artists are getting very little money on unemployment, and we need to make sure that we take care of them.
Yeah.
Because without the artists, Birdland is nothing. So we
Right.
need to support our artists.
I mean, that's what we do, right? We put the bands back to work.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Well, I leave it to artists and the artist community, and also, the entertainment industry to sort of pivot and figure out how to reinvent themselves and reinvent themselves right quick. And I think that's always, a reminder that sometimes people think that the creative arts, is this sort of, you cannot really quantify it or measure it, but then you see how bright and industrious people are. And I mean, Janice and I, you know, started in our kitchens and picking up instruments, and then made our recording studios and started learning video editing, and then continued curating this show that we love to do, that we did at Birdland, you know, Vocal Mania. And now, and for us too, we're trying to have a little bit of money thrown around to our musicians and singers to just, you know, spread it around and make donations where after every show. And that has been I think what's sustained us both emotionally through this time, and then also we've learned so much that it's such an unbelievable turn on for your creative spirit to be like, oh, we're doing we're writing and arranging and producing music at least 4 or 5 tracks a month. We're knocking it out, and you get this muscle and this tempo that's like, wow, you'd think I was 23 years old again, you know, and and so it's been really fortifying. And so I think, go ahead, Janice.
That adrenaline rush that we're missing.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. This is the universal pivot of all time. I mean, for the whole world. But we're lucky that we found a way, because I have a lot of friends that are still in bed. They still cannot get it together. They're in their depression or in their sadness, and we're lucky that we did figure out a way to put ourselves to work. But it's funny that people say to me, how did you figure this out so fast? And I thought, I had no choice.
Right.
What am I going to do? I don't have a trust fund. I got to work. So I think we all did our personal pivot and figured out a way. And it's these are talents that will never go away. And certainly internet entertainment is not going anywhere. So we'll always have this. And this will only be a great addition to what we do.
Alaina?
That can be the name of your next album, The Personal Pivot.
Totally. Yeah.
Exactly.
So what is that opening night at Birdland going to look like?
Oh my God. Great question.
God.
Really?
I guess that was
only.
I would have to say that Ryan, I've been in touch with Ryan. Obviously, we stay in touch every day, because we are hopefully, fingers crossed, looking at opening in the fall. This is, I think, a good chance that September or October we should be able to open then. If we can open sooner, I would need at least 50%. But I have to tell you that the artists are lining up, looking for gigs come September, October, November, and December, that we're literally almost booked for that period of time.
Wonderful. It's wonderful. No, I mean, I think
we
can all get vaccinated. You know, I mean, that's really what everybody needs to be leaning into is getting your vaccines and wearing your masks and being as diligent as we can all be. In fact, one of our young artists, which I love this so much, Joey Bianco, who is on one of the on the show on Saturday night, and she has certainly sung at your venue, Jim, with you. And
love her.
I love her. And her video, the spoiler alert, you know, she's down at University of Miami, and you know, she did a video, and all 3 of them are all wearing masks and performing like, and that is the rule, and those are the rules they're living by. And it's like, that's how you do it, people, you know. And yet there's art being created, and you know,
that's right.
It's really
well, you know, the 10 days we were open in December was a good gauge. First of all, the club figured out how to do it, which was great, with the air filtration and the plexiglass screens between the tables, and all of that is done. But people showed up, audiences showed up, and of course it was, what was it, 25%?
25, yeah.
25%. So it's just a few people, and the few people that were on stage were very distanced and careful, but people were desperate to see some live entertainment.
Yeah.
And they were so safe. And I think everybody felt incredibly secure. going into a venue, seeing entertainment again. And it did everybody's heart good for the holidays. Whoa.
Yeah.
Did anybody else hear that?
I did.
That was
did.
loud. It was an incredible experience. So when it's 50%, that'll be even better. And when it's 100%, it'll be like New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It'll
it's
be
good
the
to know
roaring
that you're
20s
booking.
all over.
Yes, that's true.
Well, we have such an amazing lineup of artists for the show, and it took like 1 nanosecond to even book it. You know, we kind of put a list together. We put out the calls, Janice and I, because we've been producing these shows for a while, so we're always thinking about, you know, who we want. We're planting some seeds, but this was so fun. I mean, we basically talked to Jim about, we had a meeting with him, and we were like, who do we want to call? And basically it took 2 seconds to have everybody come in and say yes. So of course, Jim and Billy are going to do a piece, which is going to be so exciting. And then Ann Hampton Calloway, who got married.
That's right.
At Birdland, who got married at Birdland.
I hosted the wedding reception.
I was there. I sang Marilyn May. It was
Every
awesome.
star, it was amazing. That was a great night.
So talk about
that wedding is the only wedding Johnny and I will ever be allowed to attend together, because one of us is always at Birdland.
Yeah, that's true. Although we do have one Saturday.
A
We're
wedding?
going to a wedding on Saturday. My assistant manager is getting married, Natasha, on Saturday.
Oh,
That's
fantastic.
this Saturday?
Yeah. So we're going to go. We'll be together.
Oh, that'll be fun.
well, much success to them. That's so beautiful. But Anne and Kari came and talked to us last week, and they told stories about, you know, their experiences at Birdland. And I think everybody has stories. But we have Karin Allison joining us. We have, of course, Veronica Swift with Emmett Cohen, and they're ridiculous, of course, as you know. I think I distinctly remember actually one night coming in for the late set to hear Veronica and Emmett. I was sitting at the bar, and Chris, you know, gave me my cocktail, and I was sitting there all by myself. I was just out for the night, and Veronica was performing, and it was so extraordinary to experience them in person, and to really just feel the unbelievable gifts that she has, and you really cultivated in many ways. I mean, I remember when Veronica was like a regular, and you gave the most important thing for any musician is to play and play often, right? So that you get better, and so it gets greasier and juicier and juicier. And I remember when she came around, and I was like, who's that? You know, she's always playing, and you've always done that for, you know, for people and supporting. And so sitting there that night and seeing and reaping the results and the years and the work and the ethic, I was just like, she's kind of one of the best jazz singers like out there.
Yeah.
Like, just
Totally.
epic.
She totally is.
Yeah.
Inside and out.
But she's rooted also. I mean, you can hear love of swing and Louis Armstrong and things that were probably instilled in her by her mother, Stephanie, and John Hendricks.
You know, Lauren, you brought up a good point, and I think that that's an important part of Birdland, is the fact that not only Ryan and Jim and myself, we understand the importance of playing in the club, but we also understand that you need to give the opportunity to younger emerging artists. And I think that over all the years that I've been in the business, the greatest satisfaction that I've gained is developing these young artists, because I think that that's important not only for the club, for the artist, but for the future of music.
Absolutely.
If we don't give the young artists the opportunity, then we might not see this music progress. And it's so important for us. And I think that Birdland prides itself on its showcases, and now with the theater, where we have more opportunities to give emerging artists and other artists an opportunity to play more often in New York because there are not that many venues. So
Yeah.
we need to find these places and time slots to help develop these artists.
And the
It's important.
regularity too is so
Yes.
important. When I first went there, Johnny and I had our first meeting. He said, I'm going to offer you Monday nights, but if it's Monday night, you're going to be here. I don't want to hear you have an audition. I don't want to hear. Yeah, I mean, I can remember it word for word. And I was like, holy Toledo. But that's what I've been waiting for my whole life, was somebody to say, here's a regular gig.
Right.
In show business, what? That doesn't happen. And it's been every single Monday for 18 years.
Yeah.
So that's a muscle. I mean,
And that's just me. You know, there are many other stories of
Well,
that going on at Birdland.
and it was a
Well, you
brilliant idea
have
to
the
do.
Afro-Latin Jazz Orchestra. They're with us 24 years. The Louis Armstrong Band, 20 years. We had Barbara Carroll here for many years, God bless her. And since that, we find other people to become resident artists. I think that's important. But also now is also finding those other time slots to allow our young artists to come in and perform on the stage. And you do a great job with that, Jim, with what you do with your Broadway on Monday nights, and of course with the theater.
Yeah. Well, that's been a great joy, finding people like Colleen Ballinger is a perfect example.
Oh my God.
I mean, she was a theater student that created this crazy character named Miranda Sings. And I wrote to her out of the blue because I thought she was that character.
Oh,
And I
totally.
said, I think you're really interesting. And if you ever come to New York, let me know. And she wrote back and she was like, that's not me. I'm an actress. That's a crazy lunatic that I created. And you know, she had a couple thousand views on YouTube at that point. Now she has
I love views.
3 billion views on YouTube. That's with a B. And a 2 seasons of a series on Netflix. But she started at Cast Party, and that's the joy of my life to tell that story.
Yeah. Gianni, could you tell me
I
about Clarabelle
think
the Clown, please?
Oh, yeah, of course. That was Lou Anderson. Lou Anderson actually was the original Friday night big band. He played saxophone and he was Clarabelle the Clown with Bozo. And I know, as crazy as it sounds,
How
but he
am I
was a
just
great,
hearing this?
are you? That was Clarabelle the Clown that played on Fridays. He did pass away, and we handed the big band over to Tommy Igoe. And from Tommy Igoe, David DeJesus, he's been handling the big band. But that was his claim to fame was Birdland #1, Clarabelle the Clown #2.
Did he wear his clown outfit playing saxophone? That's what I want.
He did wear his nose one night.
Ah!
I did that too. I was Jimbo the Clown all through college. You're welcome.
gotta have a gimmick.
Exactly.
So that's what Vocal Mania, that's what we've also really enjoyed is always in every show we feature a young artist, and that has been essential to the philosophy for us, and also that we were very mindful as singers ourselves that there could be really a singer-centric night besides Jim's, you know, that really is celebrating the singer in all of their diversity, in all of the forms in which
Yes.
you arrive. And so when when Vocal Gumbo became the platform, all of a sudden the world was our oyster, right? Now we're collaborating with people in Brazil, and we're getting music from, you know, Switzerland and from Canada and from Australia. And suddenly, you know, this has really become something that we can continue to introduce new artists, whether they're young or, frankly, I'm interested in plucking someone, you know, who's been working a long friggin' time to be
Right.
seen. And you go, let's give that one platform, who's worked their butt off this, all these years. And that's a story too, So it's been really, really fun. And so I wanted to finish the lineup because we have Alicia Olatuja, which again is another one of these ridiculous singers that came on the scene that you're like, the minute you hear them, you're like, who's that? You're like, who's that voice and what is going on? And she's so divine. We asked Darius DeHaas, Janice's good friend that you love and adore.
Darius is performing with Ted Firth. And he's just a glorious singer, and I'm so thrilled about his success on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah.
I recommended him. I'll just say.
Did you?
Is that how that happened?
Yes, because I know
background.
the woman who's putting the music together. She used to work for us, the transfer, and she asked me, "Do I know someone who could be like a Johnny Mathis voice?" I was so happy that worked out. So happy.
I'll say.
That background color behind Johnny on stage right now was developed for Darius DeHaas. He was the first one who used that color palette for his Radio Free Birdland Christmas show.
There you go.
Look at that.
Little tidbit. I like that.
I love that. And what's fun? Janice and I have a fun little announcement that we're going next month is Women's History Month. And so Sirius Radio has tapped us to do 4 shows, one per week, celebrating women in jazz. And Janice and I, our brains are like, we are on this. We got this.
DJs, we love it. Women in jazz, female vocal groups, the young lionesses,
Great.
We are the women activists. I mean, we are give us that job, and we're so excited. So that's going to be happening next month. In fact, as soon as we wrap this show, we gotta go right into programming that. So we're very, very excited about that.
You didn't tell them, Lauren, about our little collaboration on Saturday.
You mean with Homero Lubambo?
Yes.
Oh.
You mean?
Love him.
Oh,
but we wanted to do something that referenced Birdland, a song together. So I suggested Lullaby of Birdland, and Lauren suggested Birdland. So we couldn't agree, and we were coming to fisticuffs. We were gonna have a nice fight. So we mashed them together.
It's kind of epic.
It's historic.
It's gonna be, and in a way, I mean, these are the times where you're like, a deadline, a date, a recording session, a booking a year from now at Carnegie Hall. You need those things in the book to wake up the brain to go, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Would we ever put these 2 songs together? No. Are we doing it for when we're celebrating Birdland? Damn right. Is it going to possibly be something that we always do forever now and a day? Quite possibly.
Is Jim Caruso in the video? Yes.
do we ask everybody to do things for us that
I will say I'm very proud of that performance. You'll just have to tune in to see.
You should be.
So we're so grateful to Homero who was willing to hear out our idea, make some sense of it, and then add something. It's really epic. And then we did something with Manhattan Transfer New York Voices. And if that isn't enough for people, Janice and I have been wanting to do a collaboration in these videos. We're like, what can we do? Let's get a dog. Let's get a pony. Let's get something else, to distract from all these videos. And so we said, well, we want to do something with a tap dancer. And then so this song that we're doing, which is a great Count Basie orchestra, Count Basie tune, lyric by John Hendricks, called Tickle Toes, we decided we'd get a tap dancer. And so Janice, you found.
Well, my nephew actually found Ayadeli Cassell, who lives in the Bronx, gorgeous woman in the Bronx, who is really steeped in the Nicholas brothers and, Baby Lawrence and the jazz tap percussionists, and she was on it, and she had the outfit, and
Wow.
we created a place in the middle of the tune for her to dance, stop time, and Lauren just finished the video like an hour ago.
It's gonna be, and so that's the other thing though too. It's again, if you had asked me a year ago, would I be editing videos, and then would I be doing something for
Right.
these two bands, which is already like, that would be enough to like, either you'd be happy to do it, or would send you to the Looney Tune farm. And then, oh, let's add a tap dancer. But anyway, it's really going to be special. And again, something that this show, and we all felt like this room has meant that much to all of us. And so to, again, just celebrate the room and celebrate the years that we all have spent there, and just are longing to get back to it. So that too was the inspiration for that piece. So we're very excited about the show. And so if people want to get their tickets, it's super duper easy. You just go to momenthouse.com/vocal gumbo, Saturday night, February 27th and 8:00, and you have 24 hours to watch it on demand if it's not convenient for you to watch it at 8 p.m. with us when we throw the show live. Janice, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, just don't miss it. That's all. So if you're in Europe, if you're in Japan, you can buy the ticket and then watch it at your convenience.
Great.
With breakfast, with dinner, with late night snacks. In the middle of the night, you can see the show. It's awesome.
And we'll be donating to Birdland's GoFundMe page. But also what's fun is you can absolutely feel free to continue to make donations to their GoFundMe. You can do it while you're watching the show. You can do it while you're doing the dishes. Well, that's sometimes hard, but we encourage you to to consider putting something in the tip jar above and beyond the $15 ticket, because that's quite affordable, we think, for this very elegant program. So feel free to be generous and send a message of love to Gianni and Jim and Alaina and the incredible staff of Birdland that is that's waiting for us. They're holding the room. They're holding our table. So we just have to get through this time. And when we do, we know where to be.
I can't wait for another night at Birdland, just sitting at the bar, saying hello to everybody, watching incredible music, eating some good food.
Yeah.
Hanging out,
I suppose we'll never take that for granted again. I would hope
that's true. It's going to be so healing for everybody to get back in there and to heal. The arts have always healed hearts with music and laughter and entertainment, and that's what brought us all together.
And Lori Green up here, can we see you, Lori? No. Okay. Well, I'll just say that Lori, the woman that's behind the velvet curtain, is our partner in Vocal Gumbo. And she has been making all things possible for us all to just pivot and move and keep learning new skills. And we're so grateful to her for partnering with Janice and I to make this Vocal Gumbo something viable for us, and now and again something for our community that they can rely on as well. So thank you, Lori Green up there. So tune in on Saturday night, like the Facebook page, do all that goofy stuff that you're supposed to do, and most importantly, buy a ticket. And once again, thank you so much to our guests, Gianni. Thank you for sitting on that stage that we love and adore, and holding our spot for us there.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. It was a pleasure. And like I said, we'll all be together soon. And I can't wait to have music back in the rooms and have you here on stage, both you and Janice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Look forward to it.
Thank you, Alaina.
Yes.
Thank you for being here. Thank
You
you for showing
guys.
us the dressing room once again.
Yep. And Jim, thank you so much for all you do. Your energy also, you're one of the healers out there that's keeping everybody you know, just happy and the senses alive
very
and all
sweet.
that.
Thank
So
you.
we're grateful.
And you guys, we're grateful to both of you. I mean, this is an incredible gift to be able to do this for your audience, which is spectacular. Thank
Fabulous.
you.
So you guys all know what to do. Thank you. I wish they could hear a round of applause, but we're all clapping in our living rooms. Thank you, Johnny, Jim, and Alaina. And we'll see you guys all on Saturday night. Janice and I are going to get dolled up. Oh, we are going to work you out. So show up, okay?
Fantastic.
All right. Thanks all for tuning in, and we'll see you guys soon. Mwah.
Mumbo jumbo, stir up the gumbo, calling all around the world. Get it, start with the root, that's me and you. Add the Holy Trinity, that's rhythm, chords, and melody. Come on, now, add your spice. Tell your story very